Have you ever surfed through your favorite streaming platforms looking for some great automotive content and noticed that there really just isn't much? Sure, we have the Grand Tour, which comes around as often as Halley's Comet, and the over-dramatized Drive to Survive. But as entertaining as they may be, that's not really a lot of content. Personally, I like the stuff that focuses on the nitty-gritty of racing, custom builds, and automotive movies with good plot and character development. Here are my favorite movies and TV shows that center around cars that are currently free on various streaming platforms. If I miss any of your favorites, leave them down in the comment section so I can check them out. First on this list is Amazon Prime. If you've been subbed to this channel for a bit, you know that I'm a huge fan of endurance racing. Prime has one of the few documentaries that covers the 24-hour Le Mans called Racing is Everything, narrated by Aslan himself, Liam Neeson. It's one of the few documentaries that features various teams like Porsche, Audi, Nissan, and even the independent team Rebellion. It is old though, setting in 2015, where Porsche takes the crown with Nico Hülkenberg, yes, that one, Nick Tandy, and Earl Bamber as the drivers. It dives deep into the drivers, the teams, and gives us insight about how Nissan used their very out-of-the-box design and their driver, Jan Martinborough. If you didn't know, look up the Gran Turismo trailer, you'll thank me. Another entry from Amazon Prime is a documentary called Apex, the story of the hypercar. Again, it's old since it's from 2016. This is a documentary about how hypercars became so popular and even gives us an interview with Christian Koenigsegg and Horatio Pagani. Christian gives us a deep dive into how he designs his hypercars and the development of the 1-to-1. Lastly from Prime is the late and great Ken Block with the Gymkhana Files. May his soul drift in peace. It's an 8-episode series going over making Climbkhana, his time during dirt rally racing for Ford, and ends with the making of Gymkhana 10. We really get to see what goes into what Ken Block did to make the series so successful, especially with his Gymkhana videos on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, there are some great gems on there as well. There's actually 3 documentaries that are on YouTube. They all focus around Le Mans and a specific team. The oldest is a documentary about Audi called Truth in 24, which is narrated by Jason Statham. Yeah, the one who drove the Audi as a transporter. Then there's Endurance, a documentary about Porsche going to Nürburgring and Le Mans pretty much back to back. It follows their manufacturer-backed GT class team since at this point they had no LMP prototypes on the grid. Then there's my absolute favorite of the 3. It's called The Road to Le Mans, which features the actor Michael Fassbender going from being an actor to a solid race car driver. The first season is just him learning the ropes in racing, doing a lot of cup racing, then going straight into the ELMS series the following year. 2023 was actually his second year in Le Mans and would have placed on the podium if not for a small blunder on the curbs. I'm gonna skip Hulu because the only thing they have is the anime Initial D, and as much as I love it, they only have the first 2 seasons. You might as well get Crunchyroll if you want to watch Initial D. If you didn't know, Initial D is about a teenage tofu delivery driver named Takumi. He reluctantly goes from a delivery driver for his family's tofu business to the legendary downhill driver of the AE86. The show is why the movie Tokyo Drift was a movie. If you like building cars, I have 2 shows for you. The first is Car Masters, Rust to Riches, featuring Gotham Garage. They build custom vehicles from broken down clunkers using an upgrade and trade model for their big payouts. You get to see crazy builds on there like the Doomsday Bus, an off-road Toyota Hybrid, and even a badass muscle car build like the Mustang. Another custom building show is newcomer Tex-Mex, a shop whose whole goal in the first season is to see if the business model of importing cheap cars from Mexico and fixing and flipping them in the US is even possible. I was reluctant to watch this one at first, but then I found out that Rabbit from VinWiki was the one in the show and he's the salesman of the group. The mechanics have an interesting dynamic with each other, they get up to some interesting shenanigans over the border, and honestly, they're just pretty funny.
We're gonna have to find one of those.
Finally, we have one of my favorite movies about cars that's surprisingly good. It's called Lady Driver. This movie follows a girl named Elle, played by the amazing Grace Van Dien. Seriously, Grace, you're awesome. When are we getting Lady Driver 2? In the movie, she's very much into cars to the point where she wants to follow in her father's footsteps, learning how to build and race cars.
I'd rather be driving a car than fixing one.
Which in the end she ends up doing with the help of her estranged uncle, and he teaches her how to race modifieds on dirt tracks, which is quite literally my least favorite form of motor racing, right underneath tractor racing. This movie has terrible jokes, super quirky, and is 100% predictable from the start, but it has so much heart in it you cannot stop watching it, and by the end you will have a smile on your face.
You call me when you're done with Earl.
It's Merle.